try to do the right thing to prevent it, and unfortunately we're still here. So I want to ask for your help, everyone in this room going forward, to work with us to make sure that we don't have to keep coming back to the same place, please.
Lita Jennifer Rose, Deanna pretty much said what I wanted to say. I was going to bring up Andover did test the hotel test. North Reading doesn't have a lot of business to generate revenue from, so that's probably why we really use this more than some other communities. And it's not really, I think it's not the businesses that are going to be paying the tax, the customers pay the tax. And it's not going to affect my decision on whether I'm going to go out to eat or not. If I can't afford to go out to eat, then I'm not going to go out to eat, but it's not going to be because it's 50 cents. And I'm trying to pass it.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Marcy Bailey, 21 Dewey Drive. I'll try not to be repetitive here. Firstly, I'd like to convey my utmost respect and enjoyment of the fine dining establishments here in North Reading, and my intent to continue patronizing them whether or not the sales tax happens. I'm in favor of the sales tax, and some of the options offered here, such as we should vote to increase our taxes here in North Reading. That means a Proposition 2.5 override. That means taxes that go on elderly struggling to stay in their homes. They don't have a choice. I have a choice whether or not I'm going to eat out. And if I make that choice, I will eat here in North Reading, where my 37 cents on my $50 bill comes directly back to my community. Every time we pay our state income taxes and we deduct it from our paycheck, most of those taxes are going elsewhere. They're going to Boston, they're going to Lawrence, they're going to Lowell. If I'm going to pay a tax, the tax that I would choose is a tax that's optional. If I choose to eat out, that's my optional choice, and a tax where 100% of those revenues come directly back to North Reading. Is any of your tax palatable? No pun intended. Not really, but this is more palatable and more affordable to people who choose to eat out and a cost of a half override, and it brings my tax dollars back to North Reading for our tax yourself. Thank you.
Nico Ryan, 95 Park Street. A tax is a tax is a tax. I personally support no new taxes. In this particular case, I find the tax that's being proposed is discriminatory. I'm unhappy with the fact that small business is the subject of this new tax. Small business takes the brunt every time. Not the money so much the fact that the consumer, the customer pay the tax, but the additional work that's involved for the businessman himself, the sweat that goes in all of it. It's unnecessary. It will not give us what's proposed. I guarantee that. We just had an increase in the sales tax up to 7%. You saw what happened along Route 93, 495, adjacent to the Truman Manning line. Suffering by those merchants. Please, tax, no increase in tax. Thank you.
Warren on 12 Baldwin Lane moves the question.
Was asked to move to the question. All those in favor of moving to the question, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Now on come forward. We'll do a hand count. You need to be in your seats to be counted. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Mr. Dardino is counting to my right. Mr. Jones is counting the front and to my left. Only the right. Leave the front alone, Mr. Dardino.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Colella. Mr. Dardino. The entire center section was counted by Mrs. Colella. Mr. Jones Sr.
Moderator, 56, 5-6.
All those opposed? Mr. Dardino. Mrs. Colella. 32. Mr. Jones.
26, Mr. Moderator, 2-6.
2-6. Majority rules on the vote. The motion carries 84-78. Article 4, Mr. Messeri.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend the FY 2010 operating budget voted under Article 21 of the April 6, 2009 annual town meeting as follows. 1. Transfer the sum of $157,000 from the stabilization fund to supplement the following department budget, line 29, health insurance. 2. Raise and appropriate the sum of $27,580.
Excuse me, question please again, we seem to be confused.
You voted the question. Excuse me? We voted to move the question. And that was unanimous. Then I did a voice vote. I couldn't tell. Then I did a hand count. And the motion carried 84-78. Was I in a different room?
Sometimes you don't talk to us.
In a couple of minutes, I'm hoping I'm in a different room.
All right.
You might see why.
Who voted the vote? Can we continue then?
Yes, please.
Let's call.
Article 3 carried.
I'll repeat item 2. Raise and appropriate the sum of $27,580 to supplement the following department budget, line 45, Department of Public Works salaries. 3. Raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to supplement the following department budget, line 58, library salary, as specified in Article 4 as printed in the warrant.
We have the motion. Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Messeri.
Board of Selectmen unanimously recommends.
The Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously recommends.
Mrs. Pawlowski. Mrs. Pawlowski, you seeking recognition? microphone, either one.
Joanne Pulowski, 19 Turner Drive. Mr. Moderator, Board of Selectmen, School Committee, Finance Committee, Planning Commission, and residents of North Reading. I respectfully move to amend Article 4, amend FY 2010 operating budget to include the following. Raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to supplement the following department budget. Line 9, Town Administrative Salaries, for the purposes of funding the Youth Services Director's salary.
We have an amendment, which I knew would be coming. I'll rule. Anybody have a coin? I don't have any coins. Before I make my ruling, I just have to tell people that I have spent countless hours reading town meeting time, the town code, going through old warrants, discussing it with other town moderators, seeking advice and counsel from those within the community and those outside the community, as well as seeking the advice of counsel. I've had discussions with folks every day since the Board of Selectmen met. My decision is not based on what did or did not happen at a Board of Selectmen's meeting. My decision is not based on how I feel about this particular amendment. My decision has to be based on the process. And after agonizing over it, I've looked at the three issues and I'm going to break it down for you. And I still don't know what's going to come out of my mouth at the end, but there's the warrant. The purpose of the warrant is to notify the inhabitants of a community that which is to be voted on and decided at a town meeting. That is the purpose of the warrant. The purpose of the article is to define what's going to be discussed at that town meeting. What makes it a little difficult in this particular situation is the article is specific, 3-line items. The description says but not limited to. So if you all have the description in front of you, you can see those words, but not limited to. I hope I never see them again. The description is not superfluous. The description is there on purpose. The description was put there because the town code requires a description. So we have the warrant, which is notifying the inhabitants. We have the article, which is specific in nature, and then we have a description, which causes a little bit of consternation and confusion. The description is not part of the article. The ruling on whether or not something is within the scope of an article, not within the scope of the warrant, within the scope of the article. So I have to think about the process and whether or not I'd allow any amendments based on how this article is written. And I really don't want to decide, but I must, and I must rule the amendment out of order. We're now down to the main motion. On the main motion, Mr. Messere.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, the slide up in front of you is information not only for this article, but also some of the other money items. I'll just briefly go over them. Currently, we have
Your pen is locked